Naruto has some of the sickest abilities out there, and I've done a couple Naruto based in Dragon Ball What Ifs, and one that I did have on my mind for quite a while was, what if Goku had the Sharingan? And the Sharingan is a very, very powerful visual dojutsu, and it allows for a plethora of capabilities. I mean, a plethora. From being able to copy all of your opponent's movements, or be able to more or less learn things extremely quickly by just looking at it and being able to copy it. And then on top of that, being able to more or less hypnotize people into a genjutsu and have even crazier powers on top of it. Now, you might be wondering, I mean, Goku's not going to have chakra, so how would that even work? Well, in my opinion, you could more or less use ki as a supplement for it. And let's just say ki actually works this way, and now you're giving, well, the one and only Goku a visual dojutsu that would allow him to train a lot better in terms of learning, but also increase so many different attributes about himself. And if he wasn't so prideful, he could end most fights using the Sharingan that would give him a massive advantage via genjutsu. Now, I don't think Goku of all people would use this very much, if not at all. So that's not really something to worry about to a large extent. But let's talk about how it would affect the story. The very beginning of Dragon Ball, and even throughout Dragon Ball, not much would change at all. He may awaken the Sharingan, probably would actually awaken it when Krillin would first die. And utilizing the Sharingan when he's younger, I mean, he would kind of breeze through a lot of the training with people like Kami and so on and so forth. This would eventually make the battle with King Piccolo far easier, and he would kill King Piccolo very swiftly. Now, all the way through the tournaments and the fighting of Piccolo Jr., all of that would be far easier, but we still know that Goku is a child that is more or less will allow people to live and won't go for the kill. Even when he grows up a little bit more and he's more in those teen or young adult years, when he fights Piccolo Jr., he still doesn't go for the kill. He allows Piccolo to live. So the more important fight would be the one against Raditz, because we know that Goku would actually be pretty weak against Raditz, just like normal. I mean, yes, the Sharingan has helped him train, has helped him learn techniques and so on, maybe even techniques that he has seen many others do, and he could instantly copy them, and it allows him to use them. Stuff that Piccolo used against him, stuff that Tien or Ten Shinhan used against him, Krillin used against him, all of these things definitely would benefit. But even with that said, he still would not in raw power be able to keep up with someone like Raditz, eventually leading to, well, Piccolo shooting a special beam cannon through Raditz and also Goku. Now, let's talk about his journey to King Kai. King Kai, when getting there, well, Goku would have a field day with training with King Kai. I would say Kaioken is a very difficult thing, don't get me wrong, to learn. But in terms of learning the Spirit Bomb, he would have a way easier time. Yes, the Spirit Bomb takes a lot of concentration and so on, but I believe with the Sharingan, he can get the movements, the timing, and all of that perfectly down. The Kaioken, well, it's a little different. It's all about your body and the way you actually utilize it, and kind of not allow yourself to more or less die or rip your muscles apart. The Spirit Bomb's a little bit different, in which he would save a vast amount of time with being able to kind of see exactly how King Kai wants it to be done and be able to copy that specifically. So the Spirit Bomb would actually be cut in half in terms of the time length that actually takes to learn and utilize it. Now, this would allow him to actually learn more of the Kaioken and take that time to train even more. And this would be perfect for Goku. And shoot, he may even learn a couple other things throughout this time. I mean, he has quite a little bit of extra time, so maybe King Kai introduces himself to other people, and King Kai allows him to learn other techniques from other people in other worlds, maybe even learning a fusion dance far earlier than you possibly could imagine. Being able to more or less instantly copy something with the Sharingan allows Goku to just absorb all of these techniques that he never would have had normally, even if he doesn't end up getting something like the fusion dance. We can talk about anybody in Otherworld, anybody that can teach him even a sliver of anything, and he could learn it. He'd be able to learn it very, very quickly, if not instantaneously. Now, with that said, he would arrive back on Earth just in time, or maybe with a little bit of time to spare. But unfortunately, in my opinion, Piccolo would still perish. Goku isn't necessarily that much faster, and he does have a hard time keeping track of time, so he would still be there a little late, with a dead Piccolo still at his feet, including many others. Now this, in my opinion, would maximize his Sharingan, giving him his 3 Tomoe, because, I mean, the people that he cares about are dead. Shoot, he may even awaken something greater, but I'ma hold off on that until you know when. I would assume you guys understand. Now, he would wait on doing that, and the fight with Vegeta would be a very difficult one, but would be made a little bit easier just because he's able to use the Sharingan. The Sharingan allows him to read and actually follow through with a lot of the moves Vegeta utilizes. I mean, Vegeta tries to absolutely outclass Goku, and in the beginning he does, 100%, but then slowly but surely, it seems as if they're reading, or Goku's reading his moves. How does he know what he's gonna do before he does it? Well, Goku has now seen everything that Vegeta has thrown at him, and unless Vegeta starts doing some other things, well, Goku will continue to kind of develop and continue to read his movements. And this allows for Goku to get the upper hand, at least for a certain while. This battle, in my opinion, would end in a very similar fashion, with Vegeta leaving and escaping just barely after a very intense fight. And also, a Goku is mildly injured. I don't think he would be as injured as before, so the Zenkai would be a little bit less, but I do think he would be injured for quite a while. I mean, it would be no speedy recovery, so this would lead to Gohan and the normal people heading to Namek first, and Goku going after in a basically a gravity chamber. This would be perfect for Goku to transcend his limits and continue developing on the Kaioken. And this would be an amazing feat for Goku, because yes, he can't learn anything else in there, but he could also kind of train these other techniques that he also learned in Otherworld. Any technique that he could think of, and the Kaioken would be more developed than normal. Now, the fight with the Ginyu Force would be so easy. I mean, he may not even get his body changed. Now, I will say, Goku loves to be Goku sometimes, so even with the Sharingan, he may put his guard down and still get his body changed. But luckily enough, his body doesn't get too beaten up, at least not to the point that it was normally, just because there's even more that Ginyu doesn't understand and doesn't know how to utilize. So there's a good chance that it's quick and easy, but at the same time, we gotta remember, Vegeta loves beating up on a Goku that can't beat him back, and, well, it could send him to that pod nonetheless. Now, with that said, we all want to know, how would he fare against a Frieza? Well, he would come out of the pod about the same power level, if not a little bit stronger than normal, but this wouldn't be enough for Kaioken alone to eclipse Frieza. But at the same time, his Sharingan does balance out some of the tactical power in terms of being able to see actually when Frieza utilizes his tail, and so on and so forth. But let's just say he ends up using the Spirit Bomb, and these are where the real changes come into play, and the real changes that truly happen. Frieza lives the Spirit Bomb just like normal, and, well, he kills Krillin. And that is where things drastically change. Not only the Super Saiyan of Legend would be born, but the Super Saiyan of Legend with a Mangekyo Sharingan would be born as well. Goku would easily defeat Frieza. His eyesight would give him powers that were extremely unknown to him, and maybe even be able to utilize a Susanoo to a large extent. Now, would this really be that beneficial? Would a Susanoo really be that beneficial? I'm not 100% sure, but a more advanced Sharingan is more beneficial, so there's no way around that. And if he could somehow learn other versions of the Sharingan, or more or less other powers or abilities of the Sharingan, it could allow him to more or less transcend even further. But Frieza would die. He would be defeated on this planet, and I just don't really think this version of Goku would actually allow him to live. I think it would be a kill shot, but I do think the planet would still more or less blow up, forcing him to Yardrat. And let me talk about a little bit more about why I think Frieza would die here. I think Goku would see kind of moments and also just times that Frieza is wide open for the kill to die because of the Sharingan. And with the overwhelming emotions, with Super Saiyan, with a transcended Sharingan or a Mangekyo Sharingan, it would 100% lead to a more emotionally overwhelmed Goku to killing Frieza. So Frieza would die on Namek, or at least a large extent would die on Namek. Now, his trip to Yardrat would be absolutely insane, because we're talking about a Goku that can learn a lot quicker, and he could learn not only the instant transmission, but also many other techniques that the Yardratians are trying to teach him. And when he learns all of these techniques and knows for sure that Frieza is dead and Frieza is not going to arrive on planet Earth, he would come by Earth after learning the vast majority of these Yardrat techniques, making him so much stronger. We saw how strong Vegeta got from learning from the Yardratians because of their insane usage of Ki. And it's perfect for Goku because he utilizes the Sharingan, which takes up quite a bit of Ki. It is a perfect match in heaven, and it leads to just a Goku that is far stronger, and a Goku that over the next 3 years will be able to kind of develop even further. Now, Trunks still arrives, and Trunks still comes and gives the heart medicine and so on and so forth. But here's the thing, Goku's dumb. He still succumbs to the heart virus, and Cell is arguably even more of a threat. But he's more of a threat because of those two eyes. The Sharingan is within the DNA of Cell. A scary, scary thing, but not scary enough to actually win. And you may be wondering why I think that's the case. Well, in my opinion, Cell wouldn't really be able to transcend the Sharingan like Goku has already over a large period of time. Cell has no interest in training at the moment, and once he absorbs the first android, well, Cell believes he's on top, that he's so arrogant that there's no way he can lose. There's no world he loses. And after defeating Vegeta, after coming out of the hyperbolic time chamber, he definitely thinks he can't lose, because now he's absorbed Android 18 and become perfect, or has become perfect. And a perfect Cell with the Sharingan is terrifying. But this time around, Goku doesn't believe that his son alone is going to defeat Cell. Goku will defeat Cell on his own this time around. And you may be wondering, Gohan may have the Sharingan as well because he's younger and this and that. And yes, you could make that argument that Gohan actually ends up having the Sharingan, and frankly, he probably would. If it runs in the DNA of Goku, he would definitely have the Sharingan, but Gohan's just not as developed in a technical sense, and Goku has had a long time learning how to actually utilize the Sharingan to his advantage. And with all the Yardratian techniques, all those techniques that, guess what, Cell doesn't have, it is a scary thing for Cell, because Goku comes out of the time chamber far stronger, and with his ki control, could even have pushed the boundary of Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan 2. And when given the opportunity in the Cell games, Goku kills Cell. Yeah. And Goku and Gohan, their training together is absolutely insane. And throughout the time in there, about a year in the time chamber, well, Gohan learns a ton about the Sharingan and learns how to utilize it as well. So if he ever decides to train in the future and ever decides to take it more seriously, well, it's gonna be a scary thing for a hybrid Saiyan. Now, with all that said, how would things go in the Buu Saga? Well, for starters, Vegeta has Goku. Goku's not dead, which is fantastic. So Vegeta goes head to head with Goku. They can train and so on, and they can prove who's really the strongest of the two. So a Majin Vegeta isn't something that I could see happening, but you could make the argument that maybe Vegeta tries to beat Goku and he becomes Majin so that he can transcend it, but it would kind of be a cop-out for the prince, so I'm going to stay away from that. But let's talk about the Majin symbol and Babidi. I truly believe that Goku himself with the Sharingan can remove Babidi's control from Dabura and many others. And once he does that, and once he actually utilizes his powers to freeze Babidi, which he definitely could do after well, Supreme Kai brings up the fact that Majin Buu is an insane threat that they need to prevent. Well, I think those eyes, the eyes of the Sharingan, would be able to release Babidi's control and also force Babidi to more or less not be able to flee and try again some other time, making the Majin Buu saga kind of obsolete in my opinion. It might sound crazy and you might argue like, I mean, Babidi's magic is probably stronger, but with genjutsus and kind of the way the visual dojutsu works, I just truly believe that he would be able to more or less force Babidi out of the heads of his kind of quote-unquote allies. And we've seen that Dabura actually becomes a good person, ironically enough. Yes, he's in hell, kind of, or whatever it is. It's a very odd thing, but we've seen that Dabura is actually a semi-good person, so I would think Goku would be able to utilize the Sharingan to release them of the control, and Babidi would easily be defeated. Now, Beerus. Let's talk about Beerus. Beerus is a pretty big combatant in all of this, and there's no doubt in my mind that Beerus would still beat Goku, even a Super Saiyan God Goku. But the way he's able to learn from Beerus, the fighting style and so on, would prove to Beerus that this is a very good rival, a very good one. And he would even see glimpses of Ultra Instinct within Goku. I mean, the Sharingan, more or less, is a perfect remedy for Ultra Instinct, in my opinion, and would be massive for Goku. So once everything is kind of made right, Beerus decides not to destroy the planet because Goku lost, and it would eventually lead to Vegeta and Goku training together. Well, that would be an insane time because Goku would learn from Whis so fast. I truly believe he'd be able to actually get a jump on Ultra Instinct and might even be able to utilize Ultra Instinct quicker than you could possibly imagine. And on top of that, he has insane ki control with the Yardratian's techniques that he's learned throughout this time. And I could see Goku from here on out transcending every single opponent he has by a long shot. And let's just start with something simple. Golden Frieza. Would Golden Frieza, for one, even come back if he died on Namek? In my opinion, most likely not. I mean, it would be a difficult revival. It would be even more difficult than in normal. But let's say they somehow snuck by, somehow used a wish for Frieza to come back to life, and they either teleported him exactly where they wanted him or somehow got him back in terms of his body. But I mean, we know that in the normal he got sliced up and it was all bad, but this time around maybe they somehow are able to bring him back. Let's say this Golden Frieza, and this Golden Frieza comes back and he thinks he's stronger than them, but Goku proves that it's not even close. And the reason for that is techniques. Techniques are so important, especially when you get into Dragon Ball Super. We've seen Vegeta kind of transcend even further down the line because of the Yardratian techniques. And on top of that, Goku's ability to use the Sharingan is at a all-time peak. And oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot God Ki now. They have God Ki on top of that, being able to utilize Super Saiyan Blue. And there is no stopping Goku from defeating the one and only, the Golden Emperor, Frieza. Frieza's defeated, and the next kind of battle up would be Universe 6 versus Universe 7. But it's kind of crazy to think about, but the eyesight of Goku would be perfect for going against someone like Hit. And you could make the argument of Genjutsu, or maybe basically forcing Hit to see things that aren't actually happening, and actually he thinks that he's jumping through time or time skipping, but he's actually not, and that would cause for some massive issues, some very, very big issues. Some of you might be wondering, what about his eyes? I mean, his eyesight surely would go away, but I mean, did we forget that we literally have the Dragon Balls? I know I didn't really bring it up very much, but I mean, once Goku starts seeing that his eyesight is going kaput and he can't see very well, they could easily just restore it with the Dragon Balls. Easily. I mean, yeah, they can't cure diseases and stuff like that, or more or less, they can't revive people that are dead of disease, but they definitely can cure eyesight. I mean, they can make you younger, for God's sake. They definitely can cure eyesight. So that would be no problem at all. The Universe 6 versus 7 tournament would be no problem at all. But what about Goku Black? I mean, he is Goku, right? But Goku Black also doesn't really know how to utilize the Sharingan. I mean, shoot, he may not know it even exists. He might think that Goku's red eyes is some weird disease from a mortal. Goku Black would not live. He would not live. Even after getting some sort of Zenkai and leading him to the next fight, I think Goku would still be able to conquer him specifically. And when Zamasu comes back, I mean, of course they need the Mafuba, but Goku could learn the Mafuba instantly. He sees it one time, done. He understands it. He knows how to utilize it, grabs a bottle, and isn't stupid and doesn't forget it because he doesn't have any time restraints. And he seals Zamasu just like that. Done deal. Done deal. And I don't think I have to tell you guys that the Tournament of Power and the Broly arc and kind of from here on out would go pretty similar. I mean, we're talking about a Goku without Sharingan be able to win the Tournament of Power. How would the Sharingan force him to not win the Tournament of Power? I mean, he would obviously be able to win, and shoot, he might even be able to utilize Ultra Instinct Omen. I would say most likely Ultra Instinct Omen before the Tournament of Power. Yeah, that's how kind of steps ahead the Sharingan allows Goku to be. That many. And in terms of fighting Broly, I mean, it's a simple, very, very simple thing. I mean, it would go very similar to canon. In my opinion, I think Goku would have had enough time to actually see how the fusion dance works in the afterlife the very first time he went there. So he would have the technique, or at least to an extent have the technique. And this would allow them to defeat Broly, if not be able to defeat them on their own, because Goku is able to utilize Ultra Instinct. Now, with that said, I would love to hear what you guys have to say about what if Goku had the Sharingan. I know these what ifs are a little bit different than your normal like Salad Saiyan type of what if, where it's very story driven. I like these type of what ifs because it feels like I'm just talking to you guys and I'm talking like to the homies, and we're just having a good time chatting about what we believe would occur and kind of the crazy goofy stuff that would happen if Goku or someone else would have a certain power, or so on and so forth. I would love to hear what you guys have to say in the comment section, what you think about this what if and what you think would have happened if Goku had the Sharingan. Make sure to leave a like, leave a sub, all that good stuff, and I hope all y'all have an amazing day. Later.